Hello and welcome. I'm going to record my attempt at the semi-final problem from the South African Excel Championship. It's called Steyn City. And yeah, this was for a live by Steyn Wolmarans. Sorry, I meant to say that. This was for a live event, so I think that means the participants got to read it for a few minutes beforehand. So I've allowed myself to do the same. So we've got a city to model with lots of different kinds of buildings in various different neighborhoods, 1 through 31. And we've got different power consumptions according to different kinds of buildings, according to different times of day. Um, and so we need to figure out things like how many of different units are there, how much power is consumed by different neighborhoods in the morning. So whatever, like let's say for this neighborhood, there's a certain number of residential units. So that would be whatever, 800 units for each of those in the morning, 5,000 for each factory, 4,000 for each hospital, 3,000 for each school, and so on. So that's the sort of setup. And then we've got this idea of load shedding where rotating sections of the city are powered off to manage the amount of total power being consumed by the grid. So I think that's it. I think it's a 30-minute case, so I'm gonna start my timer and see how I get on. So let's go. So first let's do a little bit of setup. I'm gonna come over here and just name this area map MP. So call that MP, and then I also want to just create a set of neighborhoods. So I'll just delete everything there, and then I think what I'm going to do is I will put, actually no, let's see, oh, it's inconsistent, yikes. All right, so it looks like the neighborhood number is always either 2 or 3 cells away from the top. So I think that if I put some here of this, and then put that, carry across, and for all of these, fill down, then I think that will correctly number my neighborhoods, but let's find out. They're not all the same shape, but that's hopefully an easy fix. This is tedious to do, but hopefully worth the investment. Actually, I can probably speed myself along a little if I just do some of this in blocks. And I need to copy all of this down. Copy all of these across. And then I need to fill in this last one. Okay, I'm just going to call this NB. So then sequence 31, could link it, but whatever. So I'm interested in knowing countifs where MP is this and where NB is this. That's my count. Format is weird. My count of each of those things. I don't know yeah, there we go. Get the format. Okay. So then, if I'm interested in, let's see. Just gonna, so I'll link that here. Transpose of this. Format is kind of annoying, but never mind. Okay, so that's power consumption of residence is 800. Yes, fine. So that's morning, afternoon, evening, night. So then morning, afternoon, evening, night. So it's going to be some product of this with, I guess I'll XLOOKUP. I'll have to put in the full name to do this, but that's fine. This in here, block returning from here, block. And then I need the full names. That's the power consumption of every neighborhood at every time of day. All right, let's see if we can start answering some questions. I think we wanted total numbers of these, but that's easy to do. All right, so how many of these units are there in the city? Count diffs MP of this. And here we can say equals count diffs MP of this. Okay, next question. What is the consumption of the following neighborhoods during the morning period? So I think that's just going to be, yes, 12025, fine. So then, no, it's not all of them. So let's just do X lookup of this in here, lock returning from here for the morning lock. Okay. What? Oh, sorry. I thought I had selected the whole column, but I didn't. Okay, so that should be level 2. Level 3. Total site of schools and hospitals be excluded from load shedding. What is the reduction in energy saving from shedding the following neighborhoods? Okay, so schools and hospitals, I think, are these two. Okay. So this is full power, and then load shed. All right, am I back? Yes, I'm back. Okay. Had a momentary crisis to deal with. Okay, so sorry, where was I? Oh yeah, I was figuring out load shedding savings. So for that, I can take this. So when they're load shed, it's just minus this. Well, actually, if I just put in ones and zeros, then I wouldn't need to minus anything, would I? So let's just F4 that. I'll enter, make this 1, 1. Across. No, okay, yeah, there's zeros because they have none of those things. Fine. So neighborhood and time. Fine. So I want some of night equals whatever it's going to be equal times neighborhood equals times the load shed. No, sorry, it's times this minus this. It's probably I should have just calculated directly, but never mind. And then I want this to be equal to this. Lock that. Lock this. Bring that up, and there we go. All right, does that get this right? No, it does not. Not even close. What? That's, oh, sorry, because I didn't lock everything that I needed to. Okay, let's try that again. Lock here. And lock here. And then try again. 4, 3, 2, 5. Yes. Okay, good. So that's probably working. Next question. Calculate the total energy saved by applying load shedding to the following neighborhoods for the period specified. Okay. So ls save. It will be easier to just be able to refer to that directly. Okay. So night for these neighborhoods. I guess what I'm going to do is filter. Sorry. I'm going to sum whatever I come up with. I'm going to filter. And what I'm going to filter is XLOOKUP this morning to get the right column from here to return these values. That's what I want to filter, and then I want to know is number search. And then how is it punctuated? We've got semicolon space after and 4. So we'll say semicolon space. Oops, that's not a semicolon. Try again. Semicolon space and this guy. And semicolon space. Search for that in semicolon space. And the reason I'm making sure there has to be a semicolon space there is to make sure that there's no prefixes. I don't want to match 4 against 41 or something, which is why I have to make sure that there's delimiters on either side of the whole thing. So if that's a number, then I filter, then I say, okay, so I don't know. If this works first time, I'll be pretty impressed, but it does. Awesome. Love when that happens. It's nice when things just work. Okay, level 5. Oh yeah, I remember this kind of hard. All right, I'm going to flinch and just do the bonus questions first. I'll come back to level 5. Okay, which neighborhood contains the highest number of residential properties? So we're just going to XLOOKUP 100, which is some number that'll be bigger than the number of residential properties in any of them. In here, returning from here. I can just eyeball there is. Yeah, there is just a unique one. That's number 12. I just wanted to make sure there's only one. Comma, comma, minus 1. An exact match rate smaller. Okay. Which neighborhood receives the most nighttime load shedding on the 11-day schedule? Does that mean is most frequently load shedded at night? Not really sure what that means, but okay. So let's say filter. Actually, yeah, sorry, never mind. Let's do sequence 31. I want to know how many times each neighborhood is load shed at night. So let's do count ifs. This is this block, and this block is night. 3, 4. I need one more. Okay. I think maybe that's what the question is asking. Let's see. The max of this is 4. Is there only one 4? I see one 4 here. And no other 4s. Okay, so I'm pretty sure the answer must be 17. But as you can tell from my tone of voice, I'm not totally sure. So I'll just link it up to be good. So again, we'll just XLOOKUP 100 as generic large number in here. I don't know why I say I'm being good when I have this totally unlabeled blob of data over here that I'm looking it up in, but never mind. All right, last bonus question. Which neighborhood has the largest decrease between the period of highest consumption versus lowest? Okay. I assume that means just these periods. So equals max of this minus min of this. Let's call that range. Sideways formatting driving me crazy. Right, so let's see. The max of that is 38,000, so we'll just, again, make it live linked. So let's say 10 to the 5 in here, lock returning from here, lock, comma, comma, minus 1. Okay, all right, let's face level 5. Gotta bite the bullet. So, power consumption of Steyn City over a period of 10 days. I thought there were 11 days in this game. Oh, okay, fine, yes, so that's, got it. If all neighborhoods' power are cut according to the schedule on the schedule sheet. If a neighborhood was without power, then the power consumption during the next period is 10% higher than normal. For morning on day 1, no neighborhood will have, okay. So we need to know who's, just want to put this away somewhere. So night sheds total. Okay. Oops. Sorry. Okay. So I think we're gonna have to go through it in order. So this is neighborhoods they're shedding. Then I need to know. So it says the day after or the period after they go 10% higher. What's the best way to do this? I think the best way to do this is to just figure out the power consumption of every neighborhood. Whoops, sorry, 31, not 21, in every period. So we're going to say if count ifs. Hang on, sorry. Okay, so full power, load shed, and then there's full power and boost. So I guess I'm going to say let full be XLOOKUP this in here, lock returning from here, lock, and ls be the same thing but pointing a little further over. Labels are the same, so you have to move this, so O to R. Sorry, these both need to be transposed. Use 2-row because it's just slightly shorter than transpose. And I guess this is starting to feel like it's going to be, oops, what the heck was that? Like it's going to be a big formula, so let's make it multi-line. Okay, so, sorry, meant to Alt-Enter for a new line. Okay, so we've got a full and we've got a load shed. Sorry, I need to 2-row that one as well. 2-row. So then we want to say if count ifs don't want the sheet name, thank you. Yes, I'll lock just to be safe, but I think it's going to be all one big array formula, so I don't really need to. So if you're in a power out neighborhood, then ls. Otherwise, if you're in a power off last period neighborhood, meaning count if here to G1, if that, then full times 1.1, otherwise full. Okay, and now just I'm going to test this is working. So first I'm just going to quickly say ls, call this f plus. Just go to that for a minute. I'll call this full. So let's just come down here. So here, for example, neighborhood 2 is load shedding. Neighborhood 2 is load shedding here again. Neighborhood 7 was load shedding. It's not getting an F plus. Why not? Not seeing any F pluses, in fact. But it's because I've locked. Yes, it's because I've locked. Okay. So this was not supposed to be locked in the rows, just in the columns. You didn't even need to lock it in anything because it's an array formula, but whatever. Okay, so now we've got, yes, load shed is followed by F plus, unless it's followed by another load shed, like in this unlucky neighborhood 2. Okay, cool. So now we can change that back to the value ls, change this back to full times 1.1, and change this back to the name full. And then eventually I'll remember what the question was and see if I can answer it. Okay, so question was total power consumption. So let's just see. On day 11, oh, oops, I didn't copy it all the way down. So on day 11, total power consumption is 2586425. No, dang. Okay, it's a little while later and I'm recording a quick follow-up on this one because after the bit you've just seen, I spent a few more minutes floundering around trying to figure out what was going on, not with any great success. So I did a proper debug later. It turned out there were two different things going on. One is just a kind of difference of interpretation, which I'll show you quickly now. The other thing is, well, I think a bug in Excel, but I'll show you that in a second too. So on the difference of interpretation, I've just kind of squeezed down the formula I had here so that I can have 3 different versions side by side. So I've just wrapped it in a sum for each neighborhood. But so this was my original idea. If you're in a blackout neighborhood, take the load shed. Otherwise, if you're in a previously if you're in a previously blacked out area, then full times 1.1, otherwise full. So this one I think is the interpretation that they were looking for, which is that you would only increase by 10% the bit that was shut off during the load shed, which kind of makes sense. Like the hospitals and schools that were not load shed wouldn't have 10% more demand in the next period, just the people who were without power would. So that seems pretty reasonable. But there was also another difference, which I think was actually a mistake in the original version, which is these neighborhoods that I've highlighted here are double load sheds. So neighborhood 12 is without power in the morning and the afternoon, 19 is without power in the afternoon and the evening. And I think the way the answers were originally written basically had a 10% boost for the bits that should be load shed in the second period, even though the whole the bits that should be load shed were off. So if you just look at the difference between these two versions, this one is saying full power plus, if you were previously blacked out, then 10% of the rest. This one is saying that you add 10% if you were previously blacked out, even if. So that's outside of this if statement. So even if you're being load shed right now, you still add the 10%. So just a kind of small technical point there. So I think the right interpretation is that if a neighborhood is load shed twice in a row, then you just go with the load shed level. But then the day after a load shed, if you're not still being load shed, then you add 10% just of the bit that was shed. So makes sense. The interesting thing, the bug basically is, so I wrote this formula here, which is now a bunch of single cell formulas. I originally wrote it as an array formula like this. So I said countifs where the map is this range of icons and where the neighborhood is this range of numbers. And so when after I kind of couldn't figure out what was going wrong, I went and compared my answers to the answers given, and it turned out that my answers for neighborhood 21 on all the earlier questions were different, and neighborhood 21 is this one right over here at the edge. And so I tried to figure out what was going on, spent ages kind of debugging it, and eventually realized that this formula was not picking up all of neighborhood 21. So if you look at this line, where it's being counted individually, there's 10 houses, 3 factories, etc., etc., a total of 21 buildings. And if you look at the map, that checks out. You got 3 by 7 area, 21 buildings. But in this formula down here, sorry, I should really freeze panes so that you can see. So now we can read across at 21. In the array formula, it is only picking up 7 buildings. So I think it's basically only picking up out as far as here. And I've kind of double, triple checked. The ranges are all right. I mean, this formula is exactly the same as the individual ones, except that it's referring to a range of inputs here and a range of inputs here. So I think that is some kind of a bug. I need to, these are the differences here. So it's missing 14 buildings. So yeah, I need to explore that a little bit more, because maybe I need to be a little more wary of array formulas than I'm currently being. And I guess I'll send that over to Team Microsoft so that hopefully they can fix it. Anyway, so that threw me off a little bit. And then just the difference of interpretation on the other one. That's all I got for today. I will post my video of the final case walkthrough shortly. Thanks for watching.